Alright folks, this is the 100K Q&A video. We attempted to record this previously and there was a slight technical difficulty. Yeah. Apparently I had set the camera up for a powered microphone and I turned the gain way down. And then when we did the interview, we recorded it without the external microphone. And so the audio was really super quiet, which isn't a big deal. I can amplify that in my editor. But for some reason it picked up on the sound of the radiant tube heater, so all you could hear was us quietly talking and then in the background. And I attempted to edit that out. The software has like a frequency isolation thing where you can remove noises and clicks and pops, but then it sounds like you're at the bottom of an aquarium. So it was not usable. We had to start over. So this is the 100K Q&A video. For some reason, if this is the first video you've ever seen from us, it's gonna be pretty weird.
Go back and watch a couple other ones.
Yeah, this is for our normal subscribers. So I asked you guys to post questions on the community tab. We got, what, over 300 responses, quite a few questions, and we're gonna go through a few of them today, try to answer them, and be a little more forthcoming with
some of the questions,
some of the information that you guys want to know.
We've kind of avoided before.
Yeah.
Well, I think we just answer this, but do you redo things for the shot or explanation?
Yeah, so I touched on that on the first video I made after the first of the year about how I was reducing the number of takes that we're doing because, yeah, sometimes I get a little bit perfectionist with, I don't know, what I want to say, and I'm trying not to do that anymore. So I have a 3-take rule now. If we can't get it right in 3 takes, then we just move on and do something else because it's probably not going to happen. And what always happened with me is that I would sit down to edit the videos and the difference between the first take and, like, say, the 15th take was so small that no one would ever care or know. So it's a problem up here.
Speaking of editing, how much time do you spend editing?
A lot of time spent editing. So it depends a lot on the length of the video, and the longer the video, the more time it takes to edit, mostly just because you have to watch so much video. You know, I had to watch all the clips first, figure out which ones I want to use, what order I want to put them in, and you know, a 40-minute long video normally starts with over 3 hours of video footage, or sometimes more than that. So I have to watch all 3 hours of that footage, compile it into the editor, make my edits, then I watch the whole thing through again, then I render it, then I usually watch it again, then I upload it, and then I usually watch it again, because every single step in the process you can introduce errors. And yeah, I've gotten faster at editing, but I've also tried to get fancier at editing, so the time that I've gained with efficiency, I've lost with fanciness. So yeah. I spend a lot of time on editing, but it's so important. I mean, that's your chance to take something that's totally unwatchable and make it into a polished, finished product. And I can't overemphasize how important editing is. And there's people that do a way better job than what I do. Way better.
Yeah. If you watch my videos, I don't edit. I just throw it out there. And then he makes fun of me.
And a lot of people do that on YouTube, you know. It's just, they just pick up the camera and they start talking, and then at a certain point they stop, and that's the video. And it works well for some people, but does not work for me.
Why don't you remind people to like and subscribe, other than the fact that it's super annoying and we get it. I think everyone on YouTube already knows how to like and subscribe stuff. I don't think you need to remind them, but why don't you?
Yeah, that's my feeling too. You know, I think it's kind of annoying when people do that in their videos, and you know, I don't want to pester people. You're an adult, you can make a decision. If you want to like and subscribe, that's fine. Also, I don't think it matters. There's only 2 things that matter on YouTube. You need to get people to watch your video, you know, click on it, and you need to get people to watch a reasonable amount of it. And if the YouTube algorithm sees that people are clicking on your video and that they're watching a significant amount of it, then it's going to recommend it to more people, and that's all you really need it to do. You know, having more subscribers can help, but I don't know, within the last couple of years or so, YouTube's really kind of de-emphasized the importance of being a subscriber. So it isn't as important as it used to be. And, you know, only, what, 40% of my views come from subscribers?
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter. It's more important to appeal to non-subscribers, if that makes sense.
I think this is an ongoing question, but when is the next video, and will you post videos more often?
Yeah, we're going to try to. I'm trying to. So I used to always struggle to post a video once a week, and my average was about once every week and a half, sometimes once every 2 weeks. I've gotten better to where we're now consistently doing one video a week. And then I tried for a while doing like one kind of good video and then one kind of thrown together video, like in the middle of the week, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to really make any difference as far as like the total number of views. So if I work harder on one video and put out a more polished product, it will get more views than if I throw together 2 quicker videos. So I don't know if there'll be more videos or not. A lot of content creators put out more videos than what I do, and I don't know how they do it. Like, we had Dirt Perfect here about a week ago, and he puts out a video every other day. And long ones too. I mean, 30, 40 minute long videos every other day. And then, you know, I know, like, I was watching Sarah-N Tuned, Sarah-N-Tuned, and she puts out a video every 72 hours. And that's her normal routine. And her videos are really polished, well edited, you know. She has, I don't know, she dedicates a lot of time to it, I guess. But she also has 300,000 subscribers, so perhaps she's doing something better, you know, than what I'm doing. So I don't know the answer to that. I'll try to put out more videos, but it's tough. I put a lot of work into my videos. It takes a long time.
So these two go together while you're taking a drink. Why did you start the channel, and then did you ever imagine so many people would watch you on the channel?
Yeah. I don't have a satisfactory answer to why I started the YouTube channel. Other than, you know, I saw what other people were doing and figured there's really no reason why I couldn't do it. And I'm definitely a visual learner. So, I mean, if someone told me how to do something, I could probably figure it out. But if they showed me a picture, or even better, a video, I mean, it just clicks so much faster for me. And you probably have picked up on that in my videos. Like, I'm always using drawings and stuff to try to explain things, because that's just how I think, very visually. So that YouTube's kind of a natural place for visual learners, I think. And like I said, when I started doing YouTube, it was a lot different. There were a lot fewer channels, and it was kind of hard to find the content that I wanted to watch. So that would be my advice to anybody who's thinking about starting a YouTube channel. You just make the videos that you want to watch. And if it's something you're interested in, there's a pretty good chance that other people will be interested too. So that's what I did. And we started out kind of with machining type content, and that was never super popular, but kind of got us going. And then now it's kind of turned into more of just a mechanics repair type channel, or whatever it is. I don't really know how to describe the channel. I honestly don't.
Will there be any more Will It Run videos?
Yeah, for sure. So that kind of put us on the map, the Will It Run videos. I was kind of thinking about this the other day. Like, so the timing was... Why is it flashing at me? Anyway, the timing of the Will It Run videos was... Like, it couldn't have been better. We moved here to our house where we live now, and I kind of left all my customers behind, so I didn't have a lot of customer work to do. And then that was, like, when I started doing those Will It Run videos, that was the first time that I ever really made a video just for the purpose of making a video. Like, before it had always been like, here's a job that I'm doing, and maybe I'll record it. But with the Will It Run videos, like, that was the first time I ever set out to make a video just for the sake of making a video. And I think it came across that way too. Like, they were more entertaining and kind of laid back than doing a normal job in the shop.
Yeah. What's your favorite project?
Oh, I was going to say, so the Will It Run videos, and I've talked to other creators about this, it's really difficult to build a YouTube channel just on Will It Run videos, because they're so, like, so many things have to go right for those videos to come out. You know, because how many of them have I done where the engine seized up, or there's some ridiculous circumstance where we would never be able to get the thing to run, and then everybody gets mad about that. Like, you know, as humans, we want a happy ending. So
Yeah.
in the winter last year, I kind of tried to steer the channel more towards content back in the shop, and luckily people stuck with me. 'Cause I was worried that, you know, once we stopped doing the Will It Run videos, everybody would just go away. And thankfully that hasn't happened. So we'll try to sprinkle them in here and there, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be the main focus of the channel.
They also don't make money. So,
Yeah, I mean, other than the video,
yeah.
we don't really make anything from those Will It Run videos, videos.
Yeah.
Like, other than the AdSense revenue. Because, like, if I film a job in the shop, you know, I can kind of double dip. And I don't charge customers for the time that I spend filming, but I still charge customers for the time that I spend doing the job. So,
Yeah.
financially, it's a mixed bag.
So, favorite project?
A favorite project that we've done? Yeah, I don't have a favorite
I don't do any of it.
that I've done. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a favorite. The Oliver OC46 has been pretty fun. I mean, all things considered. Yeah, I don't really have a favorite, though. Not anything with a plow on it. A snow plow. Those are my least favorite.
What are your long-term goals?
For the YouTube channel?
Well, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to stay roughly the same. I don't foresee, you know, becoming a full-time YouTuber. I'm not willing to put my faith into an anonymous algorithm that I have no control over. I mean, you see it all the time. Channels go up and then they go way down, and it's very seasonal. So I'm happy with the YouTube channel the way it is right now, but what I've noticed is it's very difficult to just maintain a YouTube channel at a certain point, because what happens is, as more and more people get onto YouTube, the kind of quality level just keeps going up. And if you stay where you are, relative to other people, you start to look like you're falling behind. So that's why we're doing new cameras, better audio equipment, and I'm taking more time to try to make a more polished video because I want to stay with the rising tide. So that's the only changes that you're going to see, is just hopefully to get better quality. The content will stay the same.
Okay, I don't see it. Or it might evolve. Like, we've evolved before.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, some of the guys who've been with me for a long time, they kind of lament the end of the
Tooling.
the machine tool videos, but it kind of ran its course.
Right.
And they just don't get that many views. I can only think of maybe like one or two really big machinist-based channels. You know, A-Bomb79 probably is like the only one. There's a few others that have a lot of subscribers, you know, Keith Rucker and Keith Venner and those guys, but their videos get very few views. Like, I get more views than those guys. And, you know, like, yeah, automotive content does a lot better. And I find it more interesting, or as interesting.
Okay. I didn't watch any. Any plans for your website? We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it.
I've been working on it. It's better than it was a month ago.
Do we want to talk about merch? That's another question.
We do have merchandise coming, and we do have a PO box set up, which can be found on the Watch Westwork website. So it's out there.
I'll put it in the description box too. Yeah, so if you guys want to send us a postcard or something in the mail, there's a PO box finally available.
Yep.
And if you want to send us something, like a package or something that needs to be delivered to the shop, just send me an email. I'll put my email address in the description box as well. It's always available on the channel. It's kind of hard to find if you're on a mobile device, but if you're on a PC, you can get to it pretty easily. Just send me an email and I'll give you the information.
Yeah, the website also has a contact me. Not me, but me as in the channel.
Right.
Contact us. That you can fill out and send. So merch will be coming hopefully by the end of the month. Website is up. It's pretty basic, but it's there.
Right. We have the merch here. I mean, it's ready to go. We're working on the website and trying to get it. Like, we don't want to roll it out and have it not work.
Yeah.
So. And we're trying to do it ourselves instead of using a Teespring or whatever. So that makes things quite a bit more difficult.
Which segues into the next section, personal.
Should we talk about Patreon?
I feel like we should have like a section where we have questions that people can answer.
Okay. Well, that was a question that I get a lot that didn't specifically come up in the YouTube or in the community tab,
Right.
the post that I made. A lot of people want to know about Patreon and can they make donations or support the channel in some way. I'm not sure about that yet. We're still debating whether we want to do that or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people feel like they want to contribute, and I appreciate that, but
You're contributing by watching the videos.
yeah, I mean, I just don't have time to like offer exclusive content or, you know, create perks or anything like that for people. So, and plus I'm worried that people would give us too much.
Yeah.
So maybe Patreon is a way, like we could limit it to like $5 a month or something. Because I feel like if we just opened it up and said, here's a way to donate, people would just give us way too much money. That's what happens in the live streams. And
Yeah.
it gets out of hand. You know, people are giving us $50, $75, $100 at a time. That's too much.
Yeah.
So we don't know at this time what we're going to do about that. So,
Right. Or if there's anything else out there that you guys are questioning us about, similar to Patreon or merchandise or anything like that, you can contact us or email us and, I don't know, give us ideas.
yeah, or just leave a comment. I still read all the comments. It's gotten a little bit harder since the channel's gotten, like I get 2,500 comments a week and on average. So it's a little more difficult to keep up with now than when things were a lot smaller. But I do try. I read all of them. I try to respond to as many as I can. So that's another good way to contact us is just through the comments. Mm-hmm. They don't get lost as much as you think they might.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we ready for our personal lives?
Lay it on me.
How did you become a mechanic?
I don't know if I really am a mechanic. I mean, like seriously, like I never served an apprenticeship or went to
Did
a
you
technical
learn
school.
while you were in a Turkish prison?
No, I did not. Never been in a Turkish prison. My dad is an excellent mechanic. He has his own small shop, kind of like my shop. He also does a lot of welding and machine work and stuff, but he does a fair amount of repairs. He never wanted to work on cars, so I had to learn that on my own. But he works more on small engines and like tractors and farm equipment, stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything he couldn't fix. So definitely learned most of what I know from him, and then just from various on-the-job training. And from failing hard at a lot of things. I mean, you'll see it on the channel. I mess up all the time, but that's a good way to learn.
Did you go to a tech school?
No.
Would you recommend that path?
Yeah, sure. My brother went to a tech school.
I recommend it. I know most of you know that I'm a teacher, specifically high school or secondary school, and I think there's lots of paths out there, and tech school is great. It's an awesome path.
Yeah, my brother actually got an associate's degree through his school, and you know, that's something you can take with you no matter what you do.
In some tech schools, if you go through it, like Wes just said, you can get an associate's degree and then go to a 4-year college if you decide, or not. And
Yep.
it is just another path for a lot of people to take.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're just getting started, you know, and you're competing against other people that are at, you know, that same entry level, having that piece of paper just gives you a little bit of a boost above them. And, you know, I've worked with people who went to like Wyotech or some of those really fast, like 6-month or 9-month programs. And the sentiment I've always gotten from those people is that it's just not enough time to really learn what you need to know. So I would think more like a 2-year program would be better. Or if you can find an actual apprenticeship, that's probably even better than that, because they usually have, you know, long hour requirements. I think it's like 8,000 hours or something. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's 4,000 hours. It's 8,000 total with your schooling. Anyway, I don't know if there's a strong apprenticeship program for being a mechanic in the U.S., but if there is, I'm sure it would be a good path.
So speaking of school, are you a math major? And what is your degree in? Did you finish school?
Yes, I did finish school. My degree is in mechanical engineering, not math.
So sad. You should have been a math major.
So I've always been a little reluctant to talk about that on the channel, just because I don't think it really adds anything to the content. Like, I mean, you know it or you don't. It doesn't really matter what a piece of paper says. So, yep, that's a lot of people have speculated that, but that is my background. Specifically, my emphasis was in automation and controls.
I'm trying to get these kind of together so we're not going back and forth a lot. So how did you gain your knowledge? Since you just said your degree didn't necessarily add anything to it.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, like, I definitely... I don't think it adds to the channel.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say it doesn't add to my
knowledge
life.
Okay.
Just, yeah, I don't regret going to school at all. I mean, it was a fantastic experience, and I use the information that I learned there every day. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm just a learner. I like to constantly learn new things, and that's kind of actually a fault, because I get bored with things that I do know and always want to move on to things that I don't know. So I have to try to put the reins on that a little bit, especially now that we're getting older. It's time to reel that in.
Do you recommend becoming a mechanic?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a great path, and it's something that's not going to be replaced easily by automation. It's not going away anytime soon. And as things get more and more complicated, on the technical side, the cool thing about being a mechanic is that there's room in the food chain for every skill level. So if you want to stop at a certain point, like you're happy doing whatever kind of job, there's always going to be work for that skill level. And if you always are trying to get higher up in the food chain, there's a path for you. And especially as things are getting more, more complicated, the pay levels are also going to keep going up to match that, I think. So that's kind of the cool thing about the trades. I mean, there's a minimum level that you need to know to get into it, but like I said, there's a place for every skill level.
How did you become self-employed?
Yeah, so it's a long story, and we're probably not going to have time to beat that dead horse here. If you want to know about my career path journey thing, you're going to have to watch the podcast on A Few Points from Perfect. Should be coming out, I don't know, probably about a week after this video gets posted. So when that happens, I will put a post in the community tab so you guys can get notified of it. Yeah, Dirt Perfect. He was able to extract that pretty well, I think.
Okay. We're going to do some rapid fire. Are you ready?
Okay.
What channels do you watch? 5. List 5.
5 channels that I watch?
Yes.
There's a lot of them. I never miss a South Main Auto video, unless it's another brake job. I like all the Will It Start type channels. I like Vice Grip Garage, and I like, like Junkyard Digs. He's always doing something fun like that. What other channels do I watch?
I don't know. They're all listed on your...
I watch some of the construction-based channels, Andrew Camarada and Dirt Perfect and those guys.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
They can look on your channel.
all the channels that I'm subscribed to should be listed out in somewhere on my channel.
Have you considered moving to a better climate?
Yeah, it would be nice, especially right now in January where it's 24 degrees outside. Okay. And there's only been one sunny day so far this year.
Have you ever been to England?
No.
Where would you like to visit?
England. No, I think it would be cool. Somewhere in Europe, or maybe Australia, New Zealand would be cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of... we kind of skipped over this channel, but we have a lot of subscribers in New Zealand and Australia.
Did you want to answer that now?
So that'd be cool. I mean, you can.
Yeah, so one thing that's cool, I think...
someone invited us to France.
Yeah, one thing I think is cool on the channel is that...
Especially during the live streams, people will pop up and tell us where they are watching from.
Yeah, only 65% of my viewers are from the U.S., which I find amazing. I figured it would be 100% U.S., but yeah, it's 7% Canada, 7% UK, and then I think Sweden is maybe the top one after that, and then it's all of Europe, and then Australia, New Zealand.
Is Max a house dog or does he hunt?
He's a house dog. He's right here with us. I don't take him hunting, but he takes himself.
Did you play with Lego Techniks as a kid?
No, we were never allowed to have Legos when I was a kid. We had Connects, which is kind of an alternative to Legos, but you can do pretty cool stuff with those.
Like more metalish.
No, they're plastic.
Oh, are they?
Techniks.
Oh, yeah, the Techniks ones, yeah. How did you meet your wife?
Perhaps you should tell us.
Perhaps you should know.
High school?
High school. Freshman year homeroom. And Algebra 2. How old are you?
I'm going to be 36 in about a week.
Yep. How tall are you?
6'4".
What else do you do?
Besides YouTube?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of interested in art. That's sort of another thing that that I like to do besides working on stuff and making videos about it. Drawing specifically, pencil drawings, line drawings.
What do you do for fun?
That's about the same thing.
Okay.
Outdoor stuff is what I like to do.
All right. That concludes personal. Anything else you want to add to the personal?
Nope.
I'm reading his cursive. It's very interesting. What's the most jury-rigged repair you have seen that actually worked?
I don't know. I mean, all these farmers fix things with wire. Like, so that's a very common occurrence. I've seen a lot of sketchy electrical stuff. Like, you open the fuse box and you just want to put your hand on a fire extinguisher.
I'm not a fire extinguisher. Well, this has very specific numbers, but I'm not ignoring them. Worst piece of equipment you have worked on and most expensive.
The rusted out plows are so bad to work on. There's nowhere to stop on those trucks, and they don't have any money. That's the biggest problem. You know, these local townships and governments, their budget is so small. There's no industry here, really. So their tax base is tiny, and a lot of gravel roads, and it's all hand-me-down equipment. It's just very depressing to work on those trucks. We do the best we can, but yeah, that's not fun. Most expensive stuff I've worked on some Mazak Integrex CNC machines that were in the $1 million range, for sure. Some custom grinding machines that were over $1 million.
Do you work at home completely, or do you have another job?
No, I've been self-employed since I was 28.
Do you advertise?
No. I think I did some flyers, like some little short flyers when we first moved here, just to try to get things going. But it didn't take very long before we were busy. Mm-hmm. And, you know, our family is in this area too, so that helps a lot. So we know a lot more people than where we lived before. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I've never had a problem really staying busy. Kind of have a problem getting good work, but I think everybody has that problem.
What's your hourly rate?
It depends on what we're doing. So normally in the shop, I charge $70 an hour for normal mechanic type work. If I had to go out in the field, I typically charge more. But that's about average for this area. It's just, I don't know. I probably shouldn't talk about what things cost because it just, I don't know.
It's not done around here. You don't really talk
every time
about
I tell people
prices.
Every time I tell people what I pay for parts, they think I got ripped off and that I paid too much. And they know some guy who could get it for half that price that's better quality or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, shops in my area are charging $200 an hour. Mm-hmm. Well, if you want to charge $200 an hour here, you will have zero work.
Yeah, no one.
So, it depends entirely on where you live.
Yeah.
And, like, same thing with parts, too. Like, everybody's like, why don't you go under the pick and pull and get something or another. Like, there are no self-serve junkyards anywhere in this area. I don't know of a single one within a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
I don't even know of a single junkyard period within 45 minutes. And the nearest good one's an hour and a half. So it's just, we don't have state inspections here. So people run their cars until they, you know, no longer cast a shadow. Like as long as there's enough for the license plate to attach to,
both of ours.
You can drive it. So all the cars that are in the junkyards here, unless they've been in an accident, they're just as bad as the junk we're working on.
Have you thought of an assistant?
No, it would be nice to have some help sometimes, especially in the summer when things are really busy. But for the most part, it's pretty manageable. And what's kind of nice now is that since the YouTube channel's gotten to the point that it's gotten to, I can be a little more selective about what work we take on. So I can try to get stuff that's a little more interesting for you guys to watch and a little less, I don't know, pull my hair out kind of deal. So hopefully we can keep it the way it is, because I don't really want to have employees. I had a full-time employee at one time and it was okay, but it definitely adds another layer to your business.
Have you thought of getting an A and P license?
It would be cool, but there's zero work for that in this area. I doubt there's a single A and P mechanic in this entire county. Maybe one.
I don't know what it is. So.
Airframe and power plant.
Yeah,
so that would be to work on airplanes. But we live in the middle of nowhere, so there's there's very little application for that skill.
We get this question a lot. What happened to the rollback?
I sold it last March, I think, just before the coronavirus thing came around. I sold it, and we just didn't use it enough. It cost me around $4,000 a year to keep that truck on the road, and that's more than what we were getting out of it. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of those trucks in this area too, so you're competing against a lot of other people. Every implement dealership here has a rollback truck, and they all haul for hire, and they charge very little. So it's tough to make money with it in this area.
Finances of self-employment.
It can be tough.
It's tough. It helps that I've always maintained my normal job of teaching, so I could have that steady income, have the insurance, the health insurance.
There's been plenty of years where that's the only money we made.
Yeah.
I mean,
it helps for financing, because to get a mortgage, you have to have steady income. So
yeah, it's tough. I mean, some years we do well, some years we don't do as well, and that's tough to explain to the bank.
Yeah,
but luckily now
around here it's a lot easier. Back in the larger cities, it's not so common for self-employment. So, but around here it's pretty common.
Yeah, they're used to dealing with farmers who are all self-employed technically.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's gotten better now because I've been doing it for long enough that we're kind of done buying big equipment, and we can actually make a little bit of a profit. So
yeah, it's definitely something to think how you will be struggling for the first 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, if it's not something that you absolutely want to do, it's a tough path.
And I know Wes and his brother both kind of did this where they started doing it part-time and built kind of a foundation of supplies. Maybe not business, but supplies.
Tools and equipment and stuff.
Yeah, before going full self-employment.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as big of a shock.
And my parents are both self-employed and my brother's self-employed. So, I mean, it was probably always inevitable. But yeah, times can get pretty lean.
Yeah. All right, top 10 tools. Pocket knife. It has 10 of them right there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone asked for a full video about just your pocket knife.
It's a Victorinox Officer Suisse. I've had several of them. Lost a couple to the TSA, and I forgot to take them out of my pocket, but they're always handy. Leathermans, I don't like Leathermans. They're too bulky. I don't have a top 10 tools. This isn't a tool channel, like a tool review channel. Hey, Max. This is good content right here. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, go watch one of the channels that does dedicated tool reviews. My tools are such a hodgepodge mix of whatever. Like, if I need something, I just buy it. And I don't worry about the warranty. I don't even really worry about the quality that much. I get the best one that I think I can justify. And when it breaks, I get a better one.
What diesel engine is the best?
I don't know.
None of them.
No, I mean, every company makes bad engines. Look at like Cummins, is probably the best known diesel engine manufacturer in the U.S., but they've made some real stinkers. All those V8 Cummins engines are junk. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everybody thinks the 5.9 Cummins is great, and they are good engines, but I've seen plenty of them with the rods hanging out the side. So, It just depends. I mean, what you want to do. As engines have gotten newer and they're making more power with less displacement, they seem to be a lot less reliable.
Would you teach at a college?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing, so probably not. Plus, I don't think that would be an opportunity that would be offered to me.
Hardest vehicle you ever worked on?
I don't know. Some of the European stuff is really tough. Like, what is it, Saab or Volvo? Like, I cannot read their wiring diagrams and understand them. Nissan's really bad, too, about that. Some of the German stuff, like the way that they do things with all their LIN networks and all that stuff. Like, we don't see a lot of European cars here.
That was a very bad throw.
I mean, very rarely see them in our area, but I've got a little bit of experience with them, and it's just, I don't know, it just seems backwards of the way that we do things here. So I would probably say that. Just the things that you're least familiar with are always the most difficult to work on. You know, like I watch Diagnose Dan. You know, he takes on those European cars. It doesn't faze him at all because he's used to that. But for us, it's a little bit tougher.
Have you turned work away?
Yeah, I try not to, just because, you know, we don't have. It's not like I'm overwhelmed with work, so I try to take on pretty much everything that I can. But there are things I have turned away. Mostly things that are like too big to fit in my shop. Like I had a guy that wanted me to work on a Terrigator, which is like a huge fertilizer spreading machine. They needed an engine rebuild, and like it would have taken up my entire shop. All the open space in my shop would have been tied up with that, and it's older, harder to get parts for it. So I told him if you want to take the engine out and bring it over, I would rebuild it, but I don't want to work on the actual machine.
Will you see electric cars? Or will you see more electric cars?
Maybe. I don't know. It's going to be a long time before we see them in our area.
Yeah.
I think, what's the average lifespan of a car? Like 14 years or something like that? Or maybe it's 25 years. Anyway, I mean, even if they outlawed gas engines today, it would still be, you know, I'd be 60 years old before they were everywhere.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be getting rid of our old school tools anytime soon. Like, we don't even see hybrids here. Like, I don't know if I've really ever worked on a hybrid. Wow. Maybe like a Honda Civic or something, but very rarely see them in our area.
These four are for me. They want to know if I'm single, which I just think is the dumbest question ever. Like, I don't know. I think that's more dumb than the bar versus liquid soap. Am I single? Like, I'm literally married to you. My channel name is Mrs. West. Like, seriously? Okay. Do I have a twin sister? No, I do not have a twin sister. I do have a sister. She's awesome. She wishes she could be on the channel more, but she doesn't live near us. So maybe this summer she'll make an appearance. When will you admit that Slytherin is the best house? I never will, other than reading this out loud. It is not the best house. I will not say it's the worst house, but it is not the best because it's not near the kitchens. And we all know that Hufflepuff is near the kitchens, and that's important. And then what's the beer you drink? We're usually drinking New Glarus when we are on video. We live close to the Wisconsin border, and we have a lot of people that travel to the border that can bring it back to us. So it's the one that's usually featured in our videos. They have an excellent Oktoberfest. My favorite is Fat Squirrel, which is out right now, which is more of a nutty beer. I am partial to an amber. So you'll usually see me drinking something that's more of an amber bock or something like that.
And I like Spotted Cow, which is more of a wheat beer.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like we're moving through these pretty fast.
I know. We do drink a lot of beer, though you can see my wine in the background, which I also tend to drink during live streams. It's usually. All right, last section.
The technical questions?
Technical.
Just a couple of them, I think, because there's so many of them are very specific that I don't think that they'll be applicable to to everybody. So someone asked me if you can take the crankshaft out of a 2014 Volvo S60 without removing the engine block. I don't know of any engine where you can remove the crankshaft without pulling the engine. There's always going to be something at the front or the rear that's going to be in your way. You know, pilot bearing or torque converter or whatever. Like that's what separates an in-frame rebuild from an out-of-frame rebuild, is if you have to do something with the crankshaft, it's going to be an out-of-frame situation. Switching from conventional to synthetic oil and back again. That's a bad idea, at least in my opinion. So, yeah, the problem is like different manufacturers of oil have different additives and different detergents. And if you start mixing and matching the brands of oil and the types of oil, can cause problems with your engine. So the best thing to do, pick one. Conventional, synthetic blend, synthetic, doesn't matter what it is, just pick one and stick with that. Which truck brand do I prefer? GM, definitely. Brings the most money into my shop. Comes questions about, can you fix a stripped out oil pan drain plug? Sometimes. The aluminum ones are pretty easy. Just put a helicoil in them. The steel ones are more challenging. In our area, normally the oil pans are rusted out anyway, so it's easier just to replace the oil pan. I mean, unless it's something like a 7.3 Powerstroke or whatever, where you almost have to pull the engine to replace the oil pan. Usually on steel pans, it's easier just to replace the whole thing. Common issues with 7.3 and 6-liter diesel engines. It's pretty well documented, I think, online. The 6 liters had a lot of problems with the FICM, the fuel injection control module. They had some solder joint problems. I'm sure almost all of those have been replaced at this point. They also had problems with the high pressure oil pumps on the older engines. And then all of the HUE engines are just plagued by HUE problems, the high pressure oil for the injection system. The 7.3s ran at a lower pressure, and they had only a single acting solenoid on the injectors, so they're a lot more reliable. On the 6 liters, they didn't have a spring return on the solenoid. It was actually a solenoid that fired either way, and they ran at a lot higher frequency, and those engines have a lot more injector problems. Where do I get my service information? I have a subscription to AllData, which is a company that compiles OEM service information for cars and trucks, and I pay a subscription for that. I think it's about $140 a month, and it covers everything up to sort of the bottom end of medium duty trucks. When you get into the larger trucks, and especially heavy duty trucks, it's a lot more difficult. Mitchell, I think, is the only one that really has service information for those, but I don't have a subscription for that. So when I get into the larger stuff, it's a lot more difficult for me to work on those if I don't have service information. And that's one of the biggest things that stops me from working on everything, is if I can't get information about it, I don't want to work on it. Who makes the best manuals? Kind of tied into that. I would say as far as cars go, Toyota is the top. They're one of the few companies that actually publishes known good waveforms, which is very helpful. Hyundai does as well. As far as like heavy equipment goes, I'd say Caterpillar and John Deere both do a really good job writing their manuals, especially the older stuff. Some of the newer stuff's kind of sketchy. And then as far as machine tools go, the Japanese stuff is usually pretty good. Even if the translations are off, the information is fantastic. Mazak, Okuma all make really good manuals. Do we have a yearly vehicle inspection? No, there are no inspections in Illinois for vehicles under 8,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. And the inspections that we do have for vehicles that are over 8,000 pounds, they're basically a joke. I mean, all of those rusted out plow trucks that you've seen me work on, they all pass a semi-annual safety inspection. I mean, ABS lights are on, frames rusted in half, sail right through. The
stuff you see on the roads are sometimes pretty sketchy.
Yeah, so I mean, we do have the federal DOT inspections here for trucks that are licensed, to cross state lines. But within the state, you just have to have that state inspection, and it's a joke. And I think they're going to get rid of it personally, because there's not even an inspection station in our entire county. Oh. So you have to go.
You see vehicle inspections in more of the larger cities, and then they're more city-based. Yes. So like Chicago, Milwaukee, clearly out in like LA, those type of places. But in this small rural area that we live,
some of I think Cook County has emissions inspections, but the rest of Illinois does not.
That's where Chicago is for people that aren't here. And there is a whole lot more to the state of Illinois than Chicago. Just to clarify.
Okay. What's a good starting welder? I don't know. But personally, when I was taught to weld, when my dad taught me to weld, we learned gas welding, acetylene welding first. And I really think if you're just going to be welding steel, that's a good place to start. You know, torches are so handy for everything, and they are very good for welding, especially sheet metal. And a lot of times you can do a better job acetylene welding than you can with any other process. It's a lot more tedious, but the results are fantastic. Yeah, I think that's as many as I want to answer. Try to keep it under the 50-minute mark.
I thought of a channel that we could start. We should start a new car talk.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that in the last one, but that's because I had just listened to car talk. But I honestly think we've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah, we'd have to talk to Ray Mizrahi or whatever. The other guy's dead, I think, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to start a modern day car talk.
So here's our car talk story, right? So car talk is a radio show on NPR.
And it's usually on Saturday mornings, right when we'd either be going to breakfast or heading somewhere.
Anyway, so we would listen to car talk, and
they're two men from like Boston area, so they have a thick Boston accent, making jokes that I never understood.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm giving background.
Yeah, so they would do the car talk show, and we would listen to it, and I was always like, you know, people would call in and ask about questions about like a '94 Ford Explorer.
Or like an '89.
Yeah, like an '89 Toyota Tercel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these guys are in Boston, you know, that's the rust capital of the world. There are no '94 Ford Explorers still on the road.
In like 2010, 2012.
Right. So we finally figured out that the show had been off the air since, 2003 or 4 or something, and all the episodes we were listening to were 15 years old. And didn't matter. And it was still entertaining, so...
And that's when I decided we should start our own car talk, but we didn't think anyone would ever want to listen to us. Little did we know, 100,000 subscribers later, I still don't know anything about cars, though.
But that was the fun. That was kind of the point of the show, and that's the fun of it. You didn't have to know about cars to get entertainment value from that show.
Because someone would call in and they would joke around, but they always had a serious response eventually if you listened long enough.
And I always liked when they would tell people how to fix something, and then they would do a follow-up later and see if they actually fixed it or not. And a lot of times they didn't.
Right.
So they were always, pretty honest about that. So, yeah, I like that show. It would be fun to do that again. I don't know if you could ever pull it off, but...
No, because people can just go to YouTube now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right, so anyway, that would be my channel idea.
Okay. I still think the tiny shop is the way to go.
Now you're giving people, they're just going to steal your ideas.
I had an idea, because there's a big tiny house movement going on. And
there's been a big tiny house movement. You're like 5 years behind.
Well, but on YouTube, it's really popular right now, like minimalism and tiny houses. So I thought it would be cool to do a tiny shop and figure out what's the smallest physical size shop you could set up to still work on cars productively. Someday we might do that. Spoiler alert.
We'll see.
All right.
Anyway.
I think we're done.
Outro.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for hanging out. We're trying not to make it too long.
If you watched it all, good job.
Yeah, like
Way
I said,
to go.
If you want to see more details about whatever, you'll have to watch the Few Points from Perfect podcast. And I had a pretty, over an hour conversation with Mike. And
they were really nice guys.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of this stuff, the same stuff. So go check it out. I'll try to time the release of this video to be somewhat close to the release of his video so we can get it all in one. And I'm supposed to be on another podcast too. What's that guy's name? The same one that did Andrew Camarada. I'm supposed to be on that one at some point in time. So look forward to that as well. Yeah, right. I think it's the most questions I've ever answered about myself.
It's probably the longest you've ever talked.
About myself? Yeah, for sure. All right. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you. Bye.